Right, Jason, we find ourselves back again together having a little chat. I thought we'd do similar to a podcast kind of video style to reflect on your transfer window, which I imagine was quite busy and hopefully fruitful. So tell us a little bit about how the last week has been, or the last month, I should say.
Yeah, well, it's the last few months really. We've had a successful window at the company. I think that we'd have liked to do a bit more, being really honest, purely down to trying to keep everyone happy is sometimes impossible. Had a nice window to the start, and then the last week was very hectic. But upon reflection, I suppose we can be happy because clients are happy, but there was a couple of scenarios where the players didn't get the moves that they want. Deadline day was a frustrating one. We was in the mix of a £20 million transfer, which unfortunately fell through, and two of the lads didn't get out on deadline day, which is disappointing for them. I mean, it's our job now to pick these lads up and get them back to where they need to be, because 12 weeks later the transfer window is going to open again in January. So there's a lot of time to reflect upon, but let's get back to business and we go again, as they say.
So how do you manage expectations for a player? Let's say, I don't know, I'm desperate to go somewhere, there's conversations that have been had, and obviously you get let down at last minute, which I imagine a lot of deals break down at the last minute. Yeah. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, do you know what? It's something that I've learned over time. I mean, even myself, when I first come into the industry, I found it hard. That cutthroat side of the industry is difficult to take. But obviously I've been doing this for 14 years now, and you kind of get accustomed to the lifestyle. But picking up players now has been a really important task for me. So this week especially, after the window, managing that is sometimes very difficult for them to lift themselves back. Some scenarios where players don't get the moves that they want, sometimes they stay at their club, sometimes clubs block the moves. So I've always felt that it's my job to then go and pick them back up, and sometimes it's also the families within that. So I've actually spent this period on reflection, speaking to people and getting them back to where they need to be. You can imagine sometimes you can get very down as a player when things don't go your way. So I think that I've tried to gain the tools, obviously study a little bit to understand personalities and stuff. Obviously I'm not a psychologist as such, but you do have to have those kind of tools to get your players back to where they need to be, and then that's good for everybody. So as an example, this week I've gone to see a player who's not feeling himself after not getting what he wanted, and we have to get them back to where they need to be, because it is only a short period of time. I'm a really passionate person for all of my clients. I feel like it's part of myself when you're helping these lads get back to where they need to be, and I think goal setting is a big part of that. We like to sit down with our players and get them back to where they need to be by setting targets. Obviously clubs do a good job, but I think it's better as their representative to be very specific, and ultimately you can't dwell on these things. We sometimes, people procrastinate in life. Generally we don't. We go again, and I always say that. So it's been a tough time to get them back to where they need to be, but it is the nature of the industry that you don't get too high when you're high and you get what you want, and you don't get too low. I think it's very important to try and stay on that level, which can be difficult. So I have to manage that to the best of my ability, mate.
So I know you said a £25 million deal. Yeah. I mean, I can imagine that's a huge financial kick in the nuts, if you like, to say it lightly. But how do you deal with that, as opposed to the players, expectations going to you? How do you deal with that? Because I imagine there's a lot of pressure for you paying staff. For you paying me to do the videos that we do for you. I imagine it's I
think bounce back ability is something that I've lived on and thrived upon. I think that I've been fortunate enough to be okay where I'm running a business that is okay. But obviously, of course, we want to do deals. It's, you know what it is for me, mate, is I love doing deals, and I think that more than anything is the kick in the nuts, because I just want to be successful, not only for me, but for my clients or my partners. So that specific case was for my partner, and it didn't happen. But they sometimes do and they sometimes don't. If I look back to last deadline day, we got Sandfield done to QPR with 10 minutes to go. And if you look at him now, he's captained the side. He's been very, very successful. He's started all of the games. And I think that if he gets his season right, you'll see him in the Premier League next season. So, you know, that is a massive bit of success for us. And sometimes it's not. But going back to the point, yeah, it's tough, mate. I can't beat around the bush. But in terms of I have to manage getting my clients, I also have to manage that myself. And I think over time you get those tools to make sure that you get yourself back on the level. Unfortunately, I can't have a holiday this year because, as you know, Jojo's about to drop in a month. So that's been a bit tough because I do feel like I need a bit of a break. But ultimately, we roll on.
So yeah, so tell us about the old going to your personal life, the pregnancy. How is Jojo coping? How are you coping as well? Have you got all the room ready?
It was lovely. Last Sunday, our friends threw a little bit of a surprise baby shower, which was lovely, and she loved every minute of it. She'd say she hated it, but I know she secretly enjoyed it. But I've actually got a marathon first, so marathon in 4 weeks, baby in 5 weeks. So let's hope it's not too early and it gets in the way. But she's good, thank you, mate. Yeah, she's okay.
No, that's wicked. And yeah, obviously marathon, as you've just literally touched upon now. I know you've been ramping up the miles. I know you did like a mad one the other morning, or you've been doing mad ones in the last week. I know it's massively ramped up. Like you said, you're tired this morning. Like, yeah, tell us how you're coping with that.
So I done 20 last Sunday and I broke down after 18. I was gutted. I filled up on the gels too late and then threw up. So that weren't great. But yeah, it's ramping up now. I've got 4 weeks to go and I'm running most mornings, getting a couple of rest days here and there. But weirdly enough, which is normally my downtime, it's been different. It's been thrown on its head. So now the season started, I'm busier than ever. So even though I'm running, I'm getting up early and then travelling every day still, because we're doing quite a lot in the youth as well. There's quite a lot of scenarios at that point within our business that I need to home in on, and the fact that I'm not away, I just do it. So I'm just mixing everything at the moment, mate. Baby, business, marathon training, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, amazing. I have to say you handle it incredibly well. And yeah, so what have you got coming up? So what happens now, let's say, like up until, you know, the next window opens again? What happens now?
Yeah, so going back to sort of managing that expectation, whether it be our clients, scenarios at football clubs where maybe things haven't gone our way, we have to pick up the pieces for the window first. We'll have to go and discuss with some clubs whether we're going to sign new deals. You know, some of our players are coming up to the end of their contracts. How are we going to manage that? So first and foremost, I look at it as, you know, the first team clients that we're representing, we're going to evaluate now, figure out. I like to be really proactive rather than reactive. So we'll sit down and plan between now and January, but also even now look towards next summer already. You know, we're going to have scenarios, whether it be I will speak to my partners now in Europe. Well, I'll speak to them and get an idea of certain players that are coming through from their company that I may need to get clubs to go and watch. Obviously our younger players, you've got international tournaments coming up, so I'll be travelling a lot, doing that, and then just keeping my ears close to the ground. You know, we're involved in a lot of stuff at the moment, whether that be in a youth market, first team market, European market. So it's just evaluating that whole process. But first things first, making sure that our clients are okay, setting them the targets between now and January, and visiting clubs to get ourselves back to where we need to be, rolling on to the next. It's actually going to come around so quick. Obviously you've got Europa League, Champions League, and then the games coming thick and fast, whether it be Premier League, you know, Championship. You know, we'll be covering, you know, definitely 15 plus games a week now as a company, so that comes at a cost, as in time wise. You know, we're going to have to be out and about a lot of the time, but I'm buzzing for it, mate.
Yeah, and the World Cup as well we've got coming up, obviously.
So it's going to be different.
Yeah, how's
It's going
that
to be
going to
really
affect
different.
you guys?
I don't really know how it's going to affect us, to be honest. Apart from we'll have more time, to reflect. In terms of not having the games, it's going to be different. It's going to be like a bit of a break. But obviously, you're going to have clients travelling over to Qatar or whatever and doing what they need to do. But here, it's going to be a break. So I actually see that as a positive, to be honest with you, mate. I really do. So kind of exciting, but a bit different. Some of the lads will be even more happy because they can get their holidays. They'll be out to Dubai and doing what they do. So they'll be excited. But it's you just roll with it. Every season's different, isn't it?
Yeah, no, of course it is. Yeah, of course it is. And going back to obviously this transfer window, I know one of your clients didn't get the move that they wanted. I understand there would have potentially been a loan market. Tell us a bit about those loan markets and also about the foreign, because the foreign transfer window stays open for a month later. Am I right? In certain countries,
most have shut now. The only one left to finalise is today, actually, which is the Turkish window.
Oh, right.
Belgium opened a bit later, but everyone's kind of done that. Like the Ukrainian Premier League, their window's still open for a period of time. But going back to the situation on the loan, so I think that it depends on how you look at things. So we had a scenario on deadline day where a player could have gone out on loan and he'd already played for his parent club. So within the season he can only go to one more club because of the 2-club rule. So you look at it and think, would that have been positive? Yes, it would have been positive. But on the other side of it, we have to look at it and think, right, okay, does he still have a chance to get in the first team? Yes. If there's one injury, he'll be on the bench. 2 injuries, he could be playing. So that's one side of it. The other side of it is he could be out playing every week. He could be gaining experience, gaining interest, etc. He'll probably have to have some games in the 21s now. But I look at it like this, okay, there's probably 10 games between now and January. How successful can you be to get a better loan or get in your first team? So it's all well and good feeling down about a situation that didn't happen, but it is what it is. He'll look to me, why didn't it happen? On this occasion, the club didn't want him to go. So you have to take the positives out of that scenario. You've got so many different things that happen with even a loan. It could be recovery of money. It could be a player wanting to go, not wanting to go, the right type of club, the level of club, whether it's a European loan, an English loan. So many things happen, but you can't dwell on it. If the window shuts, we have to move on. So in this scenario, I've had to go and reflect on that with the player and get him back to where he needs to be. So it's not a case of, right, window shut, we move on. Which, being honest, some people work that way and they'll move on to the next window. And but me, I'm right on it. Right, let's go and see this lad. How is he? How can we get him back to where he needs to be? And I've actually already done a plan. And the plan is, we have to be positive. We have to be very successful in the games that we're going to play, and we'll make it a better scenario. Because the other side of it, if he does well, gets a better loan, then what happens then? Interest next summer, we could be in a better position. He's then only got 1 year left on his contract. We could be in a better position, bids are coming in, etc. But he has to get himself back there. I help as much as I possibly can, mate. But you have lots of those scenarios. You sometimes have it where I have a move ready, and it could be a permanent. Player's not sure if that's the right time. Completely understand. We roll on. And then you have to own that decision. But I own that decision with my players. I really think that it's important that I provide options first and foremost, and then after that, if they want to make that decision, we'll back them 100%. I had a conversation 5 days before the window when a player could have gone somewhere. I told him he should. He decided not to, and he wanted to know if I'll back him. I said, I'll always back him 100%. I've given him my opinion. I think that's the right thing to do. He'll own that now. Will he play? Let's see what happens. But I have to be strong as well. I can't just be a yes man around my players, can I? I have to be the person that comes in and says, I think you should do this. And they don't want that either. Because I think that's how you gain a good reputation. You can change people's lives on the sake of a conversation, whether that's deadline day or whatever. You got to remember, mate, the window's been open for a long period of time. Everyone homes in on this deadline scenario. I've had lots of these conversations over the period of the window. I've had moves lined up, bids put in to come to England, and then my partners decide to take them to Europe. It's a tough swallow because financially you want those moves to happen, but ultimately I'm not in a desperate position to have to do business all the time, but I want to. So, there's you just have to roll on and be positive and move on to the next scenario and go again.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, like, it's you amaze me every time you come in, Jace. Honestly, I love having a chat with you. It is so interesting to hear, and I'm sure we all wish you all the best for the rest of the season. As you say, it is gum shielding, keep on swinging, isn't it? Yeah, you're going to get massive lows, but some really potential huge highs, and
managing that together, for sure.
That's right. So. Yeah, I'm sure we'll do this again very soon with Jason. I love having him in.
I love being here.
Do you?
I'm growing to love it.
You're going to. I have to say, I remember, like, Jason wasn't very keen at the start doing this, but you're definitely embracing it, aren't you, mate?
I am, yeah. And opening myself up is something that I think everyone should do because it's so important to be open about a business that no one knows about. There's so many things that I'm even not talking about now that hopefully when the questions come throughout the season when we're doing other videos and stuff, mate, I can be even more open. I mean, I'm so passionate about what I do, and I'm very excited, and like you say, there is highs and lows, but I have to stay on this level, and yeah, I'm loving it, mate.
So what should we do next?
It's a good question, mate. I don't know, mate. I think we'll have some ideas. We'll have a bit of an idea and see what comes next. But I really don't know, mate. What do you think?
I don't know. Why don't we throw it out to the people that watch this? Like, if there's anything like you guys potentially want to see, and got any ideas for me to film Jason, like, give us a shout. Let us know in the comments or on Instagram or DM Jason or whatever you'd like to see. And yeah, man, we're full of ideas and we are open to ideas and getting them filmed to get the honesty and the transparency of this incredible life as a football agent, tough life as a football agent. But yeah.
Yeah, and I think the industry deserves it as well. I think that it's such a private institution as such that, I try and tell you a lot, but you also have to keep your clients' privacy as well, or club privacy. But I do think that there's a lot of things that agents get a bad name. And I don't think it's deserved. It sometimes is because some people do things the wrong way, but they're in a general consensus of the world. If you spoke to people in our game, there's some really good people out there.
Yeah. All right, well, that's it from me and it from you. And yeah, Jason.
We go again.
Thank you, brother.
Top man.